Design of electronic devices is a complex process that requires many preliminary preparations and analyses. Part of preparation is consideration of environmental aspects of the design process, production, as well as operational efficiency of the device. The basic procedures of development and design do not change with ecological approaches, but they obtain a new approach that also recognizes environmental aspects and standards. The purpose of eco-design is improvement of the design process that is already in use for existing devices or design of new concepts that consider sustainability and product functionalities. In many cases, the redesign is a common practice in companies because it has lower risks and the implementation of the product to the market is easier. In the majority, these are improvements of energy efficiency, as well as advanced functionalities of the device. Often redesign with the ecological approach is motivated by new technologies and technological development. Advanced and new technologies bring new components to the market that also meet many ecological standards and are, therefore, equivalent substitutions for the components that are currently in use. To a large extent, the productions is also adjusted to the redesigned products, which means that the costs of product improvement are relatively low. Contrary, radical approaches and development of entirely new products are associated with higher risk and good market analysis. In these cases, the device concept is entirely new and is not yet implemented to the market, or it does not even exist. The redesign is the most important in the product's pilot version, where the manufacturers want to analyze design processes, production process, and market characteristics. Environmental effects and analysis are thus present in all phases of product design. Research shows that 80% of environmental effects are realized in the early design phase. Due to this, the product developer influences the whole product life cycle and the opportunity to manage it. The early phase includes selection of materials, technological processes, and the production process as well as the final product. From this point of view, it is very important to design systematically and include environmental effects to the process of development and design. As already mentioned, the basis of eco-design is reduction of products' environmental effects in all cycles of development and use. Life cycle includes different stages that follow in logical order. The process can begin with the acquisition of materials and processing of resources. The next cycles include production, distribution, use, and removal or recycling of the product. In all phases, we can see different environmental and social questions that we should address in the design process. Important environmental factors are used resources and energy. 3. Sources are all input sources, such as water, non-renewable resources, and energy used during life cycle, and all output sources, such as emissions, wastewater, hazardous and chemical waste. Other important factors are radiation, noise, traffic saturation, current pollution, local unwanted weather occurrences, fog, snow, frost. National and local legislative also have a big impact as they impose handling and storage of hazardous and non-hazardous waste. Life cycle also includes withdrawal and recycling of devices, which became more important than production due to a growing number of electronic devices in households. A life cycle analysis and systematic cradle-to-grave design or cradle-to-cradle design lead to ecologically compliant and efficient devices. 3 stakeholder groups participate in the development of electronic products. The first group expresses wish for product development and presents problems that need to be solved. The second group approves design draft and produces the required solution. The third group accepts the recommended solution and implements it. The last group needs to consider given criteria and leads during the implementation process. The image below shows a connection between stakeholders in the design process. The first group that requests a problem solution or device development are customers or end users. The second group that follows these wishes of the first group, finds solutions, and offers the final product concept is a group of engineers and developers. The third group that approves solutions by the second group and implements them efficiently into the final products with the given criteria is production. In the triangular communication of developers' roles are present two trends. The first is developers' communication with the customers as well as the production through the whole development and production cycle. Due to this, the developer is forced to communicate with the customers and recognize their characteristics as well as communicate with the production to foresee the final appearance and functionalities of the product. The second trend of triangular interaction is a migration of production from the parent company to the contractors. In this case, the communication is weakened and, therefore, the control and product quality are conditioned by a precise device specification which is secured by a legal contract. The given specifications precisely determine production methods and processes that are defined according to the Sustainable and Ecological Development Guidelines. Technology development has come to the point where complex devices can be produced for a very low price. Although the production is relatively low, which is possible due to the new technological processes, the complexity of the products on the other hand requires a long and expensive developing process. If we take a closer look at the smartphones, we can see that the production costs are very low in comparison to the price of development. Part of development is not only technological perfection but also functionalities and appearance that attracts buyers' attention. If we combine it with eco-design, it means that the developers besides all of the above also considers ecological aspects of the device. Often in design, it is compulsory to accept a compromise between ecological aspects and efficiency. For example, the phone is a very common device in everyday life. The more efficient phones with higher calculating power, larger and more powerful displays require higher energy consumption, which is a bad ecological indicator. These phones are also heavier, contain more material, the batteries have higher capacities, etc., which all point to poor ecological efficiency. Today, the electronic device developers are under high pressure, as the technological conditions enable fast production, and if development is slow, the product can become outdated or uncompetitive before it even comes to the stores. Designing of electronic devices requires a structured approach that enables the best control over individual development segments regarding simultaneous activities. Most of the design problems are very complex, so it is difficult to predict the final result. To achieve the goal, the developer starts problem-solving methodologically in separate phases. This approach can be useful in different engineer disciplines. As shown in image 3, the design process begins with expressed needs and possible problems and symptoms. The developer presents these needs as definitions with potential problems and predicts the final solution. In this phase, it is very important that the developer considers environmental aspects when creating definitions and predicting final solutions. After the problem is defined, the developer starts searching a suitable solution which is directly conditioned by environmental effects. Searching for a solution in eco-design is not only related to the final efficient product, but also to the choice of production technology, used components, material types which need to be as ecologically suitable as possible. Ecological devices cannot be of lower quality or less efficient. Contrary, the ecological devices need to be of higher quality and more reliable than competitive products. After searching for the solution follows the analysis, and its results lead to a suitable product. When the solution does not lead to a suitable product, design is returned to the stage of finding solution or modification of the existing one. This process is repeated until an applicable solution is found which fulfills the given conditions. In majority, it is recommended that the designer finds multiple solutions that fulfill the requirements. With this approach, it is possible to evaluate the solutions and find the most suitable and optimal one. By all means, it is necessary to think about the development process and costs of solution finding. Therefore, it is important to accept a compromise between the number of found solutions and the probability of the best selected solutions. The probability of the best optimal solution is increased with the number of found solutions. Analysis and requirements specification. Designing of the electronic systems can be compared to traveling. Just like in traveling, the main task is to determine the destination and route. Unfortunately, this is often neglected. In many cases, Designers of electronic devices make a mistake because they do not invest enough time and effort for analysis of the whole problem that they are dealing with. Requirements specification is the first step to designing device and presents the travel destination with the given answers to the questions, such as what is the problem that we are solving by designing device, what is the design purpose. Image 4 shows requirements specification in the design process. Requirements specification answers other critical questions, for example, how can anyone included in the design process know what is done? This way the specification determines criteria for verification if designing fulfills the set goals. It also describes the tests that will be used for verifying the design process. Requirements specification also provides an important control point for determining the feasible direction of design, which is part of the design process from start to finish. It also acts as an early filtration that excludes the design processes that are too ambitious in comparison with others, have contradictory goals, solve unfeasible or persistent problems, or in any other way condemn to failure. In many companies, less than 1 out of 10 products is commercially interesting can reach market success. As Image 5 shows, the design costs grow exponentially during the product design process. Recognition of design approaches in the early design phase that will have poor success in the future or negligible market share will positively affect the business. It is interesting that a large share of devices that are ecologically oriented have a significantly higher level of opportunities for success, comparing to devices that do not have these factors. Although it seems irrelevant, development of requirements specification demands time, money, knowledge, and to a great extent an experienced engineering judgment. The process of determining requirements is also difficult, because certain analytical skills are needed which differ significantly from the classical engineering curriculum taught in school. Determining and outlining requirements specification. At this point in the design process, the emphasis is on the customer that needs a solution for their problem. The engineer's concern is not only solving the given problem but also understanding the problem source. The goal is to clarify, define, and determine the criteria for design which need to be stated in the requirements specification. Important engineer decisions are made based on experience, expertise, and information and not only on purely engineering calculations. It is necessary that the decisions are made in cooperation with the customer or buyer. The data is gathered from the customer and many other sources. Data gathering is organized, so that customer needs are checked for compliance, and then the data is sent back. All suggestions and possible alternatives need to be defined regarding high compliance with the design process and need to be very clear and precise. As already described, the customer can appear in different design phases. The consulting engineer has direct contact with the buyer and the customer. In larger companies, the consulting engineer is also in contact with other company sectors, such as marketing and development departments. No matter who is the buyer, the designer needs to be willing to work as a consultant, mentor, expert and attentive listener. This is a complex task. Therefore, it is usually assigned to the most experienced and mature engineers in the design team. Two-step approach to developing functional specifications with ecological factors. Development of functional requirements requires an approach that significantly differs from approaches that are being taught in the education process. The task of functional requirements designer is not proposing alternative solutions or rejecting some approaches, neither is their task to analytically calculate parameters, but to suggest optimal solutions. The optimal solution is one that is a compromise between the given criteria. The given criteria can be device functionalities, device appearance, technical solutions, used technologies, final solutions costs and production costs. An ecological perspective is a classic approach. Requirements specification also includes proposed materials, production location, logistics resources suppliers, high level of recyclability and the lowest possible carbon footprint. The first step evaluates buyer's needs and defines the next step for assessment of needs that we need for solving the problem. This report needs to be prepared in the buyer's language, meaning it usually does not contain technical terminology and needs to be easy to understand. The second stage includes a detailed report on the problem with additional technicalities on possible solutions. This report contains technical terms and is intended for the engineering team and developers. The second stage determines criteria for evaluating model acceptability. The criteria are also used for choosing the solutions and designing alternatives. With criteria, it is possible to determine whether a solution is acceptable or if it would be better to use an alternative. In the end, criteria are used for evaluating if the design meets the set goals. The key characteristics of developing requirements specification, presented in Image 7, is the feedback line that returns current conclusions to the stage of reconsideration and re-evaluation. The feedback line means that after problem specification is defined, the same questions is reopened to see if it fulfills buyer's needs. This is similar to when the buyer has additional needs, and it needs to be determined if the solutions fit the problem. For the cyclic development of requirements specification, it is necessary that the developer decides freely, makes agreements with the buyer on next steps and corrects previous decisions when needed. The result of this process in the Image 7 is a functional requirements specification document. This document is a short report on how device realization will be achieved and how to evaluate the final design. This document answers two key questions: what will the design team do, and when do we know that the design is finished? The included formalities in the requirements specification vary depending on different circumstances. This can also be an agreement between the marketing and engineering department in the same company. Some companies give higher importance to formal procedures that are required to obligate the development team to monitor and develop product design. In companies that hire external partners or contractors for designing devices, the requirements specification can serve as an official appendix to the contract between both sides. When it is part of the formal documentation, it is very important that both sides authenticate the specification. Regardless if the specification is formal or informal, it presents an agreement between the manufacturer and buyer of the electronic device. Evaluation of realistic circumstances in device development and design. Before we present the requirements specification in detail, we have to examine the evaluation of realistic circumstances in the design process. Quite rarely the developer team finds themselves in circumstances where design guidelines are very clear and simple. In a realistic situation, the developer team has a limited development space. All these limitations need to be soon recognized and noted from the beginning in the functional requirements, so they can be addressed in the following design stages. Until this step, only customers' wishes were considered in the development of functional requirements. A deeper consideration of other effects would exceed the functional requirements and would have a very little effect on content understanding. Nevertheless, it is important to be aware of these limitations. Image 7 presents the typical effects which developer needs to consider and define as possible or limiting factors. As already mentioned, inputs in the system are customers' needs. Here is a short list of non-obvious effects that influence product design. These effects expand the design opportunities or only restrict them. 1. Experience. Experiences to a great extent accumulate in the developer team. In many cases, external sources or experts from a specific area are also included. Sources of experiences are technical literature, consulting, experts' instructions, and buyers' experiences. Especially in large companies, experts from other departments or consultants from subsidiary companies are listed as external sources or experience. 2. Similar solutions, examples of similar design, sometimes even competitors, show design journeys or how others have addressed the problem. Registered patents and their research play an important role in this process. By researching registered patent, the designer can verify if the problem was solved and how. This way he can obtain a lot of information on the development process and problem solution. 3. Research. Important part of research is also the primary research of customer needs and financial market. The customer, who ordered the device and developer need to be familiar with at least the basic device specifications, target users, and market. This information can be obtained with research. 4 financial limitations. 2 very obvious design limitations are either the financial ability or readiness of the customer. His expectations on development costs can significantly limit or undermine development. 5 legislative limitations. Apart from technical and financial limitations, legislative and political influences can also limit device development. In European Union, many rules and laws are in use to improve causality and device safety. All laws related to environmental protection monitor that the electronic devices are of highest quality, have high efficiency and affect environment as little as possible. Environmental effects are present in the production process, as well as when in use and in the recycling process. Detailed laws and restrictions are presented in the following chapter. 6. Compliance with the production capacities. Mostly, design is related to modification with the intent to improve existing device characteristics. Completely newly developed products need to be included in the existing device lines. It is important to consider that the new product will be manufactured with the current devices and processes. Many companies hire developers at the same time they design products and prepare technological process. Management and financial departments significantly affect the used technology and software in the developed device. Analysis of customer needs and determining the problem. Analysis of customers' and buyers' needs is the first step to understanding requirements and design development. The analysis starts with the customer and leads to non-technical problem definitions which would be solved with the design. Problem definition has to include the following aspects. Non-technical aspects. The problem has to be addressed in customer's language, meaning it does not contain unnecessary technical terms and jargon. Non-quantifying definitions. Specifications, such as dimension, quantity, price do not need to be presented in a numerical form. The needs can be presented qualitatively. Final aspects. In all possible extent, problem definition has to include all aspects and problems that the designer can come across during device designing. Identifiable aspects. Problem definition is subjective and has to be aligned to the precise quantitative requirements specification. It is often possible that customers' wishes are included in the quantitative requirements specification. Different needs and wishes. Definition of users' needs is a complex and demanding task. Obtaining of information requires many iterations and repeated questionnaires to acquire a high number of different options. A very important trait of examiners is differentiation between users' wishes and needs. The developer can inquire about users' wishes for the marketing department to learn which novelties that should be included in the new device. The answer is very simple. The device has to be more advanced than competition and cheaper for manufacturing. This is a simple expression of users' wishes, that is often conflicting. Users' needs and wishes are presented as 2 overlapping rectangles. The fields are of different sizes and are not aligned. A, C. Users' wishes, C, often overlap with the needs, A. If problem definition is designed so that it considers only users' wishes instead of needs, then the design will not correspond to the needs. Firstly, the design would not fulfill all the needs, meaning the approach would be insufficient. Secondly, unnecessary wishes would lead to a higher device price. To sum it up, designing would be wasteful and would not fulfill all the needs. Designer's task is to translate users' wishes into problem definitions that reflects real needs. As shown, there is a high probability that the problem definition will not fulfill all the wishes. Designer's task is to get closer to the needs as much as possible. Being careful and precise in problem definition is paid off in the next design phases. Input-output analysis. Designing problem is conceptually presented as a functional block with given inputs and outputs. This problem presentation gives the designer a clear view on what issues need to be solved during designing and what is the purpose of designing. For example, take a look at designing of gas flow control devices with a multi-channel laboratory measurement systems. The gas is transmitted from the pressure tank to the output nozzle for each channel. The nozzles are connected to the control valves and flow sensors. Machine operator regulates and adjusts flow values for individual channels separately and the bucket pressure as well. Current flow and pressure values in the tank are displayed on a graphical interface. The next image shows the input-output diagram of the flow meter of the measuring device. When designer and customer create this diagram, it is highly possible that they discover unexpected problems. For example, they can look deeper into what calibration methods will be used, how they will adjust the values, which alarm types are needed, etc. The input-output diagram is also useful for determining functionalities in complex and demanding projects. The diagram does not determine non-functional requirements, such as size and reliability. Research of design attributes. Many design processes have similar or identical characteristics. Research of design attributes can help reveal additional project needs. It is very sensible to divide the attributes into functional and non-functional requirements. This approach to attribute description leads the designer to a clearer overview of what design is trying to achieve, functional requirements, and what should design look like, non-functional requirements. For example, take a closer look at a mobile phone designer. The mobile phone market is very saturated and competitive. Mobile technologies are fast growing, and due to this, new products require new improvements, better functionalities, and use of new technological solutions or advances. The designer is faced with the decision what functionalities the phone should have included and which technological solutions and approaches he will use. When researching attributes, the designer can discover new design procedures. This triggers a new wave of questions on design needs. In the following table, are presented device characteristics and possible questions that occur about them. The first row in the table above, standard functions, lists questions regarding standards that need to be met. The set standards also influence design methods and determination of requirements. Other requirements are derived from the existing approaches and influence the comparison between the existing and new design. This comparison is useful as it shows starting points of designing new device. Some of these characteristics are production, reliability, and service, which all need to pass design requirements in the design process. These are useful also as further engineering questions and show a tendency to cooperate with other departments or external companies. Functional specification. Converting of problem analysis into functional specification is a one-on-one translation. Each design requirement is translated to a functional specification. Good problem analysis enables a complete and consistent translation to functional specification. Complete problem analysis is done when design is thoroughly studied and analyzed to perfection. In this analysis there are no contradictions between different design needs. If analysis is superficial and functional specification is developed, it is very important that designer reviews it together with the customer. In this case, some uncertainties can be removed, and other designer requirements can be determined. When translating requirements, designer relies on his expertise and experience. It is not expected that designer is an expert in all development areas. Therefore, we have offered different approaches to the translation of problem analysis to functional specification. 1. External expert. These sources include external experts, industrial standards, and other sources, such as books, magazines, or textbooks. In some cases, external experts act as consultants or external assistants. For example, take a look at flow sensor that has to operate in a determined zone and under different pressures. In the functional specification, measurement and operating zone of the sensor need to be recorded. When the main designer is an electrical engineering expert, they need an external expert for tires and hydraulics. The second expertise originates from standardization area. Often standards determine functionalities and process of device design. 2. Analysis of similar systems. The term reverse engineering is a common approach. It often has a negative connotation, as it is connected to idea theft and plagiarism. The fact is that most designing is based on previous designs. Until patent laws are not broken, or unauthorized duplication or idea theft occur, this approach is completely acceptable. For example, in smartphone batteries, the functional specification gives a charging time of an empty battery. For determining charging time, the designer has to review characteristics of other devices, made by different manufacturers. 3. Conducting tests or experiments. If we want to determine battery charging time, numerous experimental tests need to be conducted. The designer has to conduct multiple tests of different battery types by different manufacturers, so he can statistically determine the charging characteristics. It is also important to test different charging electrical circuits to determine the most suitable one. The same applies to other system components. Often designer creates prototype devices, circuits, and software that are tested under different conditions and are often conducted in development laboratories. Excessive requirements. In an analysis of needs, it is important that we determine and analyze real customers' needs. When analysis of need is converted to requirements specification, it is crucial that we get closer to the needs and requirements of the customer as much as possible. The specification must not be too ambitious or too inaccurate. Requirements that are excessive and surpass the real requirements often lead to more expensive device design. An experienced designer classifies excessive requirements into 2 groups. The first group of requirements are requirements that are not needed. The second are requirements that are too strict. Usually, the customers have a mindset that small additions to the device do not increase development price to the extent that it would be too expensive, especially when it is software. Although device price does not increase significantly due to additional hardware components, it is important to consider that design costs do increase. If the buyer set a requirement for the device to be highly reliable, then he needs to be notified that design costs are significantly lower, if criteria are partially lowered. All options and design analyses need to be considered when determining requirements specifications.